Think about this for a second. You gave someone everything. You gave them your time, your energy, your loyalty, your presence. You were there for them when no one else was. You stayed up late just to make sure they were okay. You sacrificed your own peace just to bring them comfort. And yet, to them, you were just an option, a backup plan, someone they call only when no one better is available. Well, today I'm going to tell you the psychological truth that most people never figure out in their entire lives. When you start recognizing your own value, the person who once ignored you won't be able to sleep at night. What is up, everyone? My name is Alex Carter, and welcome back to Mind Over Matter, the channel where we break down psychology, philosophy, and human behavior so you can live a stronger, smarter, and more fulfilled life. Today, we are diving into one of the most powerful topics I have ever read on this channel. Excited. We are talking about Stoicism, and specifically what happens inside a woman's psychology when she realizes she never valued someone who was truly worth it. Now, before we get into the points, let me give you a quick background on Stoicism. Stoicism is a philosophy that originated in ancient Greece around 300 BC. It was founded by Zeno of Citium and later developed by some of history's greatest minds, Epictetus, a former slave who became one of the most influential philosophers in history, Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who wrote one of the greatest books ever written called Meditations, and Seneca, a writer and statesman whose letters are still studied in universities today. These men had one core belief: you cannot control what happens to you in life, but you can always control how you respond. And when it comes to relationships, when it comes to dealing with someone who does not value you, Stoicism gives you a level of power that no amount of arguing, begging, or explaining ever could. So let us get into it. The first and most immediately powerful thing you can do when someone does not value you is go completely silent. Now, I know what you are thinking. You want to explain yourself. You want to justify your actions. You want to make them understand how much you have done for them. But here is the hard truth. The more you explain, the more you lose. There is a concept in psychology called reactance theory, first introduced by psychologist Jack Brem in 1966. Reactance theory states that when people feel that something is being taken away from them, or is suddenly no longer available, they immediately assign greater value to it. Think about it. When you are always there, always available, always responding within minutes, you become predictable. And predictable things have low value. But the moment you go quiet, the moment you stop chasing, something shifts inside the other person's mind. They start asking questions they never asked before. Why haven't they called? Why haven't they texted? Did I lose them? And that anxiety, that discomfort, that is the beginning of them realizing what they had. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Stop arguing, stop explaining, stop convincing. Just become. Your silence will say everything your words never could." The second point is one that I want you to really sit with because this one changes everything. Stop trying to prove your value to someone who has already decided to underestimate you. I understand the impulse. When someone ignores you or takes you for granted, the natural reaction is to work harder to impress them. You do more, you give more, you try more. But here's the paradox that psychology reveals. The harder you try to prove your worth to someone, the less they value you. This is known as the self-worth paradox. The more you chase validation from a specific person, the more power you hand them over your self-esteem. And people, consciously or unconsciously, lose respect for those who need their approval to feel good about themselves. Dr. Robert Cialdini, one of the world's leading social psychologists, explains in his landmark book Influence that scarcity drives value. Things that are rare are treasured. Things that are constantly available are taken for granted. When you are always available, always ready to drop everything for someone, you become common. But when you stop proving yourself, when you hold your standards without apology, when you walk with the quiet confidence of a man who knows exactly who he is, you become rare. And rare things are never ignored for long. Epictetus said it best: "Never depend on the admiration of others. There is no virtue in it. Your value is not something you need to perform. It already exists. You just have to stop hiding it by begging for someone else to acknowledge it. The third point is the one that will physically change you, and I mean that literally. Focus entirely on your own growth. Stoics had a concept called amor fati, love your fate. It means accepting everything that has happened and using it as fuel to move forward. Now let us look at this through a psychological lens. When men get rejected or ignored by someone they care about, many of them fall into what psychologists call limerence, an obsessive state of attachment where your entire mental and emotional energy is consumed by one person. You stop going to the gym. You stop investing in your career. You stop seeing your friends. Every thought, every moment, every breath revolves around someone who is not even thinking about you. And that obsession, that neediness, radiates off you. People can feel it, and it makes you deeply unattractive. But when you make the decision to redirect that energy back into yourself, when you hit the gym and build your body, when you invest in learning new skills, when you level up your career, when you reconnect with your purpose, something extraordinary happens. Your energy shifts, your confidence grows, your body language changes, the way you carry yourself changes, the way you speak changes. You become a completely different version of yourself, a version that is genuinely magnetic. Psychologists Edward Deci and Richard Ryan developed what is known as self-determination theory, which shows that when humans pursue growth, competence, and autonomy, they naturally radiate a kind of energy that draws others toward them. And that woman who once looked past you, she will notice. Not because you are doing it for her, but because you are doing it for you. And that is precisely what makes it so powerful. The fourth point is one of the most misunderstood concepts in Stoic philosophy: emotional detachment. And I want to be very clear about what this means, because most people get it wrong. Emotional detachment does not mean becoming cold. It does not mean suppressing your feelings or pretending you do not care. What it means is that you feel everything, but you do not allow your emotions to control your decisions or your behavior. The Stoics called this apatheia, not the modern English word apathy, which means not caring, but a Greek term that means freedom from destructive passions. It means calmness of mind, inner stability. Viktor Frankl, the Austrian psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, described it perfectly when he said, "Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." That space, that pause between what happens to you and how you react, that is where your real power lives. When she ignores you and you react with anger, desperation, or emotional outbursts, you confirm every low opinion she has of you. But when she ignores you and you respond with calm, dignity, and quiet strength, she is confronted with something she did not expect. She expected you to break. She expected you to beg. And when you do not, when you carry yourself with complete emotional composure, it shakes her. Because deep down, she now has to ask herself, is he actually okay without me? And that question, my friend, haunts her far more than any dramatic reaction ever could. The fifth point is the most practical one on this entire list, and it is also the one that most men consistently fail at. Set your standards, and then refuse to lower them for anyone. Stoics lived by what they called virtue ethics, the idea that your character, your principles, your values are the foundation of everything. Not your looks, not your money, not your status, your character. Now here is what modern psychology adds to this. Research consistently shows that individuals who have clearly defined personal boundaries, and who enforce those boundaries without apology are perceived as significantly more confident, more attractive, and more worthy of respect than those who do not. Why? Because standards signal self-awareness. Standards signal self-respect. And in a world where most people abandon their values the moment someone attractive walks into the room, a man with unshakable standards is genuinely rare. When you clearly communicate, through your actions, not your words, that certain behavior is acceptable to you and certain behavior is not, people rise to meet your standard, or they reveal that they are not worth your time. Either outcome benefits you. Seneca wrote, "Nusquam est qui ubique est," which translates to, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." If you are available to everyone, at all times, under all circumstances, you are special to no one. Guard your time, guard your energy, guard your presence. Make it something people have to earn. And when she realizes that your presence is something that requires effort, something that she is no longer automatically entitled to, that is when regret starts to set in. That is when it hurts. The sixth and final point is the most foundational of all, and it is the one that everything else is built upon. You have to love yourself first. I know that sounds simple. I know you have heard it before. But I want you to really understand what this means, because most people say these words without truly living them. Think about how we are raised. From the time we are children, we are taught to seek external validation. We look to our teachers to tell us we are smart. We look to our parents to tell us we are enough. We look to our partners to make us feel complete. And when that external validation disappears, when someone we care about withdraws their approval, we collapse. Because we built our entire sense of worth on a foundation that belongs to someone else. Psychologists call this having an external locus of control, the belief that your value is determined by how others treat you. And research from Julian Rotter, who developed locus of control theory, shows that people with an external locus of control are significantly more prone to anxiety, depression, and emotional instability. But people who develop what is called an internal locus of control, who build their sense of worth from the inside out, are more resilient, more confident, and ironically, far more attractive to others. When you genuinely love yourself, not in an arrogant way, but in a deep, stable, unshakable way, then no one's rejection can touch your foundation. You feel the pain, yes. You are human. But the pain does not destroy you, because you know who you are without their approval. And when she sees that you are not just surviving without her validation, but actually thriving, that is the deepest cut of all. Because she realizes she never had the power over you that she thought she did. Marcus Aurelius captured it perfectly. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. So let us bring this all together. Today we covered 6 Stoic principles that reveal what truly hurts a woman when she realizes she never valued you. First, silence and withdrawal trigger the reactance effect and make her question what she is losing. Second, when you stop proving your value, scarcity makes you more desirable. Third, investing in your own growth transforms you into a genuinely magnetic person. Fourth, emotional detachment shows a level of inner strength that very few men ever develop. Fifth, holding firm to your standards signals self-respect and makes you rare in a world full of people with no boundaries. And sixth, loving yourself from the inside out removes her power over your emotional state entirely. None of these things require revenge. None of them require drama. None of them require you to even say a single word to her. You simply become the best version of yourself, and let that speak for you. If this video added any value to your life today, I would genuinely appreciate it if you hit that like button. It helps this channel reach more people who need to hear this. Subscribe to Mind Over Matter if you have not already. I put out new psychology and philosophy content every single week. And share this video with someone in your life who might be going through something like this right now. Drop a comment below and tell me, which of these 6 points hit you the hardest today? I read every single comment, and I would love to hear from you. Remember this: your value was never dependent on whether someone chose to see it. It was always there. It will always be there. All you have to do is live it, fully, unapologetically, and consistently. I am Alex Carter. This is Mind Over Matter. Take care of yourself, stay strong, and I will see you in the next one.